Welcome, everybody, to the Magic Beans podcast. My name is Chewy, and I will be your host tonight for episode 80. And on the line with me tonight is a solitary, stoic, stalwart bean, which is Disco Stu. How you going? It's as many S alliterations for Stu as I could possibly fit in there, mate. How you feeling? How you going?
I thought you were going into a soul ring pun there.
Oh, we might talk about slow ring, I think is a phrase you coined today, this week at least. So
I did. I'm going good, mate. Trying to hold back some coughs tonight. It's not COVID, I've been tested, it's all clear. But for the last couple of weeks, I've just had this lingering cough, but I'll do the best I can tonight. And how are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty much over the little bout of the non-coronavirus that I had. In lockdown again here in Melbourne, getting kind of used to it now, homeschool, all the rest of it. But we are sustained by the very busy news and previews that's coming out of Modern Horizons 2, and it's got the creative juices flowing, maybe because I've got more time to think about stuff. So I'm going to talk mostly about Modern Horizons 2. We're going to talk about, now that the full set is out, some cards that jump out at us. Also, some updates to existing decks and maybe a little bit of brewing towards the end. But before we get into that, why don't you tell us about our illustrious sponsor?
I would love to. Yes, Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar. They are a Facebook auction site with auctions every weekday and weekends on all the Magic cards, premium cards on weekends. I've just made a purchase of $170 worth of cards today, and I am looking forward to getting them in the mail. Look them up on Facebook and tell them the beans sent you.
Excellent. And the bargains that you get, that $170 would probably be north of $200 retail, no doubt, without knowing anything that you bought. But yeah, you do get some bargains for Josh and Pat, so jump on there and check them out. Tell them that the beans sent you, right? So, Exactly. So, all right. So, as I mentioned, the full Modern Horizons set is out. I've got the Scribefall tab open at the moment, and yeah, to be honest, I had like
It'd be permanently open, right?
Yeah. Look, I might have had like a 4-hour project workshop at work today. Hope my boss doesn't listen to this. I doubt she does, but. So I may have strayed a couple of times and found myself scrolling the spoilers and thinking about decks and such. So it's good. That means that we've got hopefully a good show. Just thought, like, we've spoken about the previews for like the last 3 or 4 episodes. But
there's just been so many.
There's so many. It feels like a big set, and I don't know whether it's just because there's a lot of impactful cards.
I think there's
cool cards,
there's over 300 cards, I think.
Yeah, so it is definitely a big set, a full-size set.
And couple that with the reprints of the Modern Horizon 1 cards that are getting the old border treatment and collector's boosters that we've been getting previews of as well. It's just been an onslaught.
The basic fetch land, Prismatic Vista, is that the one? In the old border, looks very good. I have a box topper one, which is pretty nice, but I'm a sucker for an old border. I really am. Maybe it's because I'm old, therefore.
That could be part of it.
Yeah, I like that. What's the date today? Yeah, oh gosh, mate, it's only 2 weeks till the big 4-0 for me, so it's definitely old.
I hope we're out of lockdown by then.
We better be, because I've placed the order for the butcher for the brisket, so I hope so.
For those that don't know, Chewy has planned a Barbie cube for his 40th celebration, which we're all very much looking forward to. Yeah,
so a bunch of the beans and a few people that are beans adjacent will be coming to my place for a bit of a draft. We may be in masks, but yeah, we'll have a draft. We'll do some cubing. I've got a cube. Shorty's got a pauper cube. Chris has got a power cube. We'll play some Commander. Maybe draft some other sets, but there will be large amounts of smoked meat consumed, and I'm looking forward to that. So,
which means we won't be wearing masks.
No, while we're eating, but we'll be appropriately distanced whilst consuming said meat, and hand sanitizer, all the rest of it. We'll be following all the rules and taking all the precautions, but that won't stop us from having a good time. So let's think about the end of lockdown and and such. I definitely want to think about that. And I actually have a bit of a resurgent belief that we're going to get over this thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Good segue. So the first card that I got pretty excited about at first because of a commander deck that I've got, and Replenish is such an expensive card, where this is a really, really good redundancy for that. Yeah. A good substitute and some redundancy where it's expected as well. So for my commander deck, I'm really excited about Resurgent Belief, and I'll read it out just really quickly. It is a white sorcery, which has Suspend 2, so it has no mana value. So Suspend 2 for 1 and a white, and when this is cast, return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it's Replenish in that sense.
Yes.
And for my commander deck, I'm pretty excited. I've got Open the Vaults and All Sun's Dawn and things like that to get some recursion happening, but I don't own a Replenish. I haven't splashed out on that, but yeah, I will eventually. And then Resurgent Belief does a really good job of buying back all of your enchantments. So yeah, I really like this card. It's cool. And yeah, maybe it opens up a little bit of space for some, combo or prison style enchantment based decks for modern, and we might talk about that a bit later. But yeah, I think it's great. A good white card, funnily enough. So, which is always nice to see as well. What about you? What's jumped out at you as far as the cards that you're excited to play in Modern Horizons 2?
All right, so one that's really jumped out at me when I first saw it previewed on Twitter is Archon of Cruelty. It is 2 black and 6 generic for a creature Archon. It has flying, and whenever Archon of Cruelty enters the battlefield or attacks, target opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker, discards a card and loses 3 life. You draw a card and gain 3 life, and it's a 6/6.
So
it's funny. I always tend to be drawn to these larger mana-costed creatures.
Well, they've got lots of words on them, Stu. They've got lots of words.
Yeah, there is that. And obviously being still... I guess I'm not really new into returning to Magic. It's been a couple of years now, but one of the first things that I was sort of told by you guys is when you look at these things, what do they do? What impact do they have? And for 8 mana, it's expensive, right?
Yeah, but we're not paying 8 mana for this, are we?
Well, this is exactly right. It's the first thing I look at now is how do I cheat this out? How do I get this out sooner? Are we playing it in Through the Breach? Are we suddenly splashing black? Which, or what graveyard recursion type decks have we got that can make this work?
Yeah, and
I'm really excited about it.
And there is some reanimation in this set, and I think this is great, and I really like the Through the Breach style thing because it gives it haste, right?
If you can give it haste, you can bring it down and be doing 12 damage almost straight up.
Absolutely.
With the thing.
Yeah.
Along with everything else. Like, it's almost like a Cruel Ultimatum light with a body.
Yeah, that's not too bad, actually. And I think that's a pretty good comparison. Like, the mana cost is, like, it's 1 mana more expensive than a Cruel Ultimatum, but
it's only one colour.
It's only one colour. So it's the mana cost isn't that far different. It's sorcery speed, but you can do more cheaty things with this because it's a creature, right? So I think that's a pretty good comparison. And if you think of it through that lens, it's probably going to be pretty abusable. So
for sure.
It's worth trying at least, right? So yeah, absolutely. Another card or cycle of cards. We've seen all of the evoke creatures that there's 1 in each color, and they're all pretty good, right? The black one we saw, we saw that fairly early. Grief, yeah, and that does some Thoughtseize type things, right? And it's not too bad at all. And the white one does like a Swords to Plowshares. The green one removes things from graveyards. The the blue one, when it enters the battlefield, choose up to one target creature spell or planeswalker spell. Its owner puts it on the bottom of their library, so it's kind of like a half a negate, half essence scatter. And there's another color. And the red one just domes your opponent. So they're
Fury, yeah,
they're all pretty good.
I'm really excited to see these cards in action. I think they all have the potential to add a lot to Modern Commander.
Yeah, I think so. And it's a power up a bit for the format as well. We saw this with the 0 mana counter spells, the Force of Negation. So we had Pact of Negation for a little while, but Force of Negation and Force of Vigor, etc. Just because your opponent's tapped out doesn't mean that the window's necessarily open. And
yeah, exactly.
I really like that the white one, and I mentioned that the enchantment recursion card is a good white card. We've got one of the best white cards going in the what's it actually called?
The evoke card.
Yeah,
Solitude.
Solitude, that's what it's called.
Do you want me to read it out?
Yes, please. Found it on
So
this
it's
word.
3 generic and 2 white. It's a creature elemental incarnation. It has flash, lifelink, and when Solitude enters the battlefield, exile up to one other target creature. That creature's controller gains life equal to its power. And it has evoke, exile a white card from your hand. So it's a 3/2.
Yeah, so it's a really good way to deal with an early goblin guide and that sort of thing. But if the game goes a little bit longer, this just gets you a massive 2-for-1.
Yeah, it does.
So, yeah, you can come down, exile their big thing, trade with their little thing, gain a bunch of life, and you've done really, really well. So, and that's what I think I like about most of them is they're actually castable without the evoke cost. The evoke cost is very good and ephemerate and all of those things that do a really good job. And, there are a number of flicker effects in Modern, and people will try. I don't know how good the deck will be, but just as inclusions in decks that want this type of effect, like who doesn't want, like what white deck doesn't want a Swords to Plowshares effect?
That's right, on a body.
Yeah, exactly. The blue one's a 4 mana counter spell that's got a 3/3 body attached to it. It's just a good card. And with the pitch effect, it's with the evoke is actually really, really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing these cards. I'm going to lose to them a lot. But
I definitely will.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to them in Modern. So yeah, so Solitude and the blue one go into like blue-white control, and Grief probably goes into Jund, and the burn deck wants the red one, and all of that stuff. So
yeah,
already got homes for these things, plus whatever archetypes they spawn, whether there's some sort of like, you play Child of Alara and 5-color Niv Mizzet and, all of those 5 Maelstrom Archangel or whatever, just to with ephemerates and try to cheat these things out, and, clock your opponent and have some sort of crazy combo deck, maybe. But that may or may not work, but these add value to existing decks, right? So I thought, why not have a look at some of the other cards out of Modern Horizons 2, and ones that we think...
There's a lot of them.
There is a lot, and so just through the lens of, do these have a home already, and do they make that deck better? So it's Modern is a really broad format, and there's a lot of cards in this, so this is not going to be a comprehensive guide, right? But some cards that just spring to mind for us that we think, oh, that might make that better. And we've spoken about Ignoble Hierarch on a previous cast, and how that gives Jund the 1-drop mana dork that it's really been craving. Obsidian Charmor, I think, is going to be a decent sideboard card at the very least. Replaces the Fulminator Mages in Jund. It has the same effect against the decks that you want it against, like Tron. But instead of, playing a Grey Ogre that you have to sacrifice for the effect, you're leaving a 4/4 flyer. So if you think about you're on the draw against Tron, because I always lose the dice roll, right? I'm playing Jund. My Tron opponent goes like land.
You clearly haven't played against me enough.
Yeah, well, yeah. They'll usually beat me, so yeah. So your opponent goes like Tron land, expedition map, go. You go land ignoble hierarch. They go Tron land, go. You go land obsidian charmor, blow up their land, have a 4/4.
I love it.
Like you can
I absolutely love it.
In that case against Tron, where Jund has a lot of trouble, and historically you could cast your Fulminator Mage in that spot, and then you'd have to sacrifice it, and then you're just left with your ignoble hierarch. But now you've got a 4/4 that attacks for 5 because of the hierarch. It's like this.
That's awesome.
Those two cards absolutely power up. And we're talking about a specific matchup here, and that you might play once in the whole.
So, with that in mind, that it has a specific matchup here, do you think, going back to R&D for this set, that this is deliberately a hard sort of, a hard target for Tron?
Yeah,
like they've designed this card with Eldrazi Tron in mind.
Eldrazi Tron, Green Tron, definitely. And there's the artifact that counters colorless spells and things like that as well. So reading between the lines and just sort of, having a look at the cards that are printed in this set, they are trying to move, and even recent bannings, they're trying to move Modern to a more mid-range interactive format. They're just trying to dial the needle back, not just like mid-range creature battles and people casting, Genesis or Cruel Ultimatums and these like long drawn out every round going to time, but the Modern card pool is so big and all of the cards that get played are so efficient that the lines between Modern and Legacy, it's getting thinner and thinner. They want to introduce cards here and ban the problem cards to just dial it back a bit, and that's a good thing, I think, and that they're conscious of the health of the format. And this set doesn't have an obvious Hogak. There may be a Hogak lingering that we haven't seen. There's a Delve Flyer, for example, which may be abusable, like Hogak was.
Yes, the Murktide Regent. I like the look of that card.
Yeah, it looks very, very good. And and that one, you kind of go, oh, that's a little bit Hogak-esque. But then there's a bunch of cards that you go like, oh, that's a really cool card. I don't know if it's actually good enough for Modern. But if they're trying to just move the needle slightly back towards those cards being playable, I think that's really good for the health and the diversity of the format. So we'll see. Mono Red also exists, so you can't do anything too dirtily, but
that's right.
Yeah.
But I would say as well that this has been designed for drafting purposes as well.
Absolutely. Right? You can draft tribal squirrels if you want to. So
surely that's going to be an archetype in Modern.
Maybe. There's a new Glorious Anthem and things. So
somebody is going to push it. Someone will force it. It's got to happen.
Someone's going to try, and that's going to be awesome. So yeah, there's definitely a few options there. What about like the humans deck? Is there a card, do you think, that helps the humans deck at all out there, and potentially another deck out there that this might slot into as well?
So it feels like this particular card is just an auto include, and that is the Esper Sentinel.
Yes.
Which is...
You read that one out?
Yep, which costs one planes, 1 white mana, artifact creature, human soldier. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power. So
this card is actually a house. Like, if you've probably not played Modern Humans, but
I have actually. I've played with Polywaffle's Modern Humans a few times.
Okay. I have played it only in our testing sessions, and I played against it a bunch, absolutely, especially when it was the best deck in the format. Definitely played against it a whole lot. And the advice I've had from Polywaffle, who's our resident humans expert, and other players as well, is you had to mulligan any hand that didn't have a 1-drop. And you've just got 4 extra 1-drops that, do a really, really good thing. So all of your, Thalia's lieutenants and things like that are going to pump Esper Sentinel up and make this tax a significant cost. And it's a good aggressive 1-drop that's going to grow with the rest of your team, draw you cards, which, for a like all-in linear aggressive deck is absolutely fantastic. Tempered Steel is still a deck as well. I don't know if you know Tempered Steel, but
I don't know.
It's a 3-mana enchantment, white, and 1 artifact creatures you control get +2/+2.
Okay.
So, there's, this might spur on other archetypes as well. So like artifact creature, human soldier, that is some good types. So this will slot into at 1 with a good ability. This is one of the best white 1-drops we've seen in a really, really long time. So I think this card will definitely have an impact. And yeah, so death and taxes and 5-color humans and maybe some sort of aggressive artifact, like it pains me to not have affinity, but maybe some red-white artifact deck that runs cranial plating and galvanic blasts and things like that. This with like Bomat Courier as your 1-drops, there's potentially a deck there. So I think this card's great, and it's going to go in existing archetypes, and those tier 3-4 decks out there that don't see a lot of play. This might bump it up from tier 4 to tier 3 or whatever, and there'll be people excited out there by that. So humans, it's a tribal deck, Merfolk, and Polywaffle's getting some love in this.
He really is.
Yeah, he's a Merfolk fiend.
Which I'm sure he'll have a significant amount of Modern Horizons boxes come in, so he'll be thrilled to pull as many of these as possible.
Yeah, so the Seb McKinnon art on Svulin, the Sea and Sky, I don't even know how to pronounce that.
No idea.
Do you want to read the rest of the card? Because my eyes switching just trying to pronounce it. Yeah.
Yep, it's cost 1 generic and 2 blue. A legendary creature, Merfolk God. Svulin of Sea and Sky has indestructible as long as you control at least 2 other Merfolk. Whenever it attacks, draw a card. Other Merfolk you control have Ward 1.
And it's a 3/4.
And it's a 3/4 for 3 with lots of text.
Yeah. So if you were, I don't know if you've played Merfolk, but
I haven't.
It played things like Kira, the Great Glass Spinner, and things like that to kind of round out its curve. And they were good cards, and they protected your team, but they weren't Merfolk, so you didn't get the synergies from Lord of Atlantis and Remera Regery and things like that. But if you go, you want this on turn 3, obviously to ward your other things and draw some cards and have it indestructible. So the 2-drop that you want is obviously the Lord of Atlantis. You've also got, the one that draws cards and such, but there's also Rashardan Dockhand, which is a Merfolk. That's a 1-mana 1/2 with Island Walk, and it's a callback to Rashardan Port, which I don't know if you're familiar with that card, but it's a land that taps for colorless and has the ability of pay 1, tap, and tap target land. So the old in your upkeep, tap your land, and you can't attack me. So for a deck like Merfolk that is just getting power onto the board and attacking, tapping down a land, keeping somebody off a color or from Khan and things like that. And when you're an Aether Vial deck, you often have that mana lying around, right? So it's a turn 1 this, turn 2 the Lord of Atlantis, turn 3 Svulin. Yeah,
we're going to call it Sweden.
Yeah,
I can't figure it out.
Old mate of Sea and Sky. Svulin. Yeah. I'm sure in whatever language Merfolk speak, it just translate to like Steve.
Merfolkish.
Yeah, right. It's just Steve of Sea and Sky. There we go.
Steve.
So then, yeah, if you untap with that, then you're going to keep them off mana. It's going to be really hard to target their permanents because they're taxing your land and the creatures are warded from Sea and Sky.
Yeah.
And, and you're just going to get the beats in. So I think it does a lot of things for a deck that, Merfolk is one of those decks that crops up every now and then. It has its moments in the churn of the modern metagame, and I think this adds a bit to it. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it seems pretty cool.
So
both those cards seem pretty cool.
Yeah, good for that. Very specific to that deck, but they are legitimate upgrades to that deck. Whether they're good enough to make that deck, like a prominent, force in Modern again, I don't really know, but it's definitely percentage points as a boost, right? So yeah, it's good. Do you want to talk about the next one on our list?
All right. So the next card we're talking about is Fire and Ice, or Fire/Ice.
Oh yeah,
which is this is a reprint, right?
Oh yeah, it's an old card, and one of my favorite cards of all time.
This has been printed into Modern for the first time, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's cool. Fire, 1 and red. I guess most of our listeners know this card. I personally don't really. But Fire deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets, and Ice, 1 and a blue, tap target permanent, draw a card. So it feels like this would slot in rather nicely into Prowess.
Yeah, it's a...
Would I be right?
Absolutely. Like, it's a good way to pick off, small creatures. You can potentially get a 2-for-1 with Fire. It can tap down a blocker or tap a land with the blue side. Both of those things trigger your Prowess creatures, and the cantrip of Ice is also pretty good as well. It helps you force through. Both of these things are good at forcing through those little bit of extra damage. So, and Prowess is already a really good deck, and I don't know if there's room for this particularly, but I think this is a good option for it to have. And if the metagame moves to things like Esper Sentinel and Ignoble Hierarch and, a bunch of 1 toughness creatures, then Fire is going to do really, really good work. And if the format is also, a fast combo deck that, you just need to buy 1 turn, Ice does a really good job. If you've got a clock down, especially if your clock is benefiting from casting Ice, as in Prowess triggers, this might be a little sneaky 1 or 2 of at the sort of the 2 mana slot effectively in those Fire Ice decks. So
yeah, cool.
It's also and I'm getting a bit cute. There's like Isochron Scepter. They've changed the rules with imprint. I don't know if that works, but anymore. But yeah, you can do some cool stuff as well. There's powerful things you can do, like cast Monastery Swift Spear, but there's also some cool stuff that you could do as well. So yeah, we'll see how we go. So, but yeah, it's a really good card. It's been present in any format that it's legal in since it's been printed, basically. So yeah, I expect to see that a bit. So, and another reprint is probably something that our Burn friends are going to enjoy, which is I actually have an original printing of this, Flame Rift, which is a 1 and a red for a sorcery and at uncommon, and it says Flame Rift deals 4 damage to each player. So it domes you, but also domes them. And
it's such a red thing to do.
It's so red. It's such a red thing to do. But when you're attacking with Goblin Guides and Swift Spears and stuff, 2 mana for 4 damage is pretty significant.
That's pretty good.
And, we've seen Boros Charm do work, but the red decks have either kind of gone mono red or blue red with the Prowess type stuff.
Yeah.
This is an option that, still lets you play Blood Moon if you want to out of your board without wrecking your mana base, or, just consistently being able to cast things and, not have to fetch and shock down to a dangerously low life total because people are flame rifting you. But it's a card that I've enjoyed casting over the years. played it in Highlander, played it in Legacy, and it's really, really efficient. So maybe not a 4 of in burn, again, similar to Fire Ice in the Prowess decks, but definitely see a copy or two sneaking into a deck, I think. So yeah,
I think you might be right.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you think might jump out? You've played a bit of goblins.
I have played a bit of goblins.
There's a reprint here, and I didn't put this one on the list. I actually didn't spot it until a little while ago, but I'll just find it. It's a 5 mana sorcery, and it is called Patriarch's Bidding. Let me find that on the list here.
Patriarch's Bidding. Is it red?
No, it is black.
No. Okay. All right. Let's go up there.
I'm pretty sure I saw it. It's if on the Scryfall page it is pretty low on the list, but I've put a link into our chat. The Patriarch's Bidding is another reprint, and I know you've cast a lot of goblins, and think Skirk Prospector, sacrifice a goblin, add a bunch of red, right? Now each player chooses a creature type. Each player returns all creature cards of a type chosen this way from their returns them from the graveyard to the battlefield.
Ooh.
So there's
interesting.
So there's a card called Fecundity, which is a green enchantment that whenever a creature's put into a graveyard, you draw a card. And so you then sacrifice Jund Goblins, which opens up a few goblin options as well. There's some good goblins in those other colours. And you can sack them all to Patriarch's Bidding, get a whole bunch of mana. Sack them all to Skirk Prospector, draw a bunch of cards, bring them all back with Patriarch's Bidding, and then you can get a whole bunch of recursion, and you can eventually set up a board state that just either all of the goblins giving one another haste and pumps and just like dealing ridiculous amounts of damage all at once, or some sort of board state based creature combo deck that can get the kill on the spot. Don't know exactly what that looks like, but I reckon that can be a thing. So
I'll keep looking into that because I like the sounds of this. It sounds very interesting.
It was in Extended. So before Modern was a format, we had Extended. This was how the Goblin decks operated. Patriarch's Bidding was a very, very powerful card back then in conjunction with Skirk Prospector. And there's a bunch of Goblin token producers now that we didn't have back then as well. So the ones that make a 1/1 when they come into play, and even the sorceries that put goblins into play. And this is one of those things where it's like, is this quite on the Modern power level? I'm not sure, but if they can move that needle back where something like this is good in the format, then I'm all about it. I think this would be really, really good. So hopefully this card and cards like this that just do cool things, that they're not broken, they're not like unfair. They're not fair, but they're not broken. They're just in that unfair if you get to go off sort of thing. So yeah, I think that is a really good spot for Modern to be in. So yeah, anyway, card without notice, but it brought back some memories of mostly losing to it. I don't think I ever played Patriarch's Bidding, but I certainly lost. I remember losing my win and in at a PTQ in Extended where I was playing a Doran deck in Extended. There was mono red everywhere, right? Like it was a mono red or red deck wins format. So I was casting Doran and putting what's that? It's an enchantment that's green, Armadillo Cloak. So green, white, and 1. Your enchanted creature gets +2/+2, has trample and lifelink. So I was going turn 2 Doran off Birds of Paradise, turn 3, making it a 7/7 lifelink trampler and just bashing the red decks up with that. And beat all my Modern red deck opponents, but lost to I can't remember what else I lost to, but yeah, I lost to a Goblin deck doing Patriarch's Bidding shenanigans and my winning in. So that's my memory with that. But yeah, that's what I
like
get.
it.
That's what I get for trying to win with giant lifelink creep. What a Timmy that I am. So yeah. Speaking of green white enchantments, let's move on to our next little sub segment here, where we are thinking about cards in this set that might hopefully maybe spawn a new archetype. So or make an archetype viable for the first time in the modern format. And largely these fall into the I really hope or I wish these things would be viable because they're kind of cool, or they've got some sort of nostalgia for me attached to them, the ones that I've written down. But there's a Resurgent Belief was a card that I spoke right at the top of the show, spoke about right at the top. And I thought, well, what can this do in modern? And there are a bunch of Enchantress type cards in modern that do things similar to what Sithis Harvest's Hand does. So the Harvest Hand is green and white for a 1/2 legendary enchantment creature nymph, and whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain a life and you draw a card. So Misa Enchantress has, it's a 3 mana 2/2.
I think I know that card.
Yeah, so I might have played it against you in Commander. It draws cards off enchantments. And
yes, I've absolutely seen that card.
Yep. There's also, I believe, is Sterling Grove in this set as well, which gives your enchantments hexproof. Yes, it is. So Shroud. So Sterling Grove is green and white, and it says other enchantments you control have Shroud, and you can pay 1, sacrifice Sterling Grove, search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top of your library. So it's a tutor for enchantments, and it is and there's also Mirari's Wake, which doubles your mana, which is also a green white enchantment. So there's some really good enchantment cards in this set.
There is
a way to recur them. You can also play things like Cast Out as your removal spell, which cycles, and then you can return with Resurgent Belief and hit their creature. Lay Claim cycles and then takes their best permanent. Thirst for Meaning draws cards and fills up your graveyard for Resurgent Meaning. You can you can play all of the enchantment-based removal out there, like the Seal Away, Door to Nowhere, and things like that. Journey to Nowhere, sorry.
Journey to Nowhere?
Yeah, so like 2 mana removal spells for creatures and things like that. There's the 2 mana 2/3 green thing from the more recent set that creatures and enchantment spells can't be countered, and you can turn a land into a big beat stick. So the tools exist for this to be a deck. Whether it's any good, I don't know, but like Bant enchantments in modern, I would, and maybe it's some sort of prison deck playing Ghostly Prison and things like that to stop people attacking you and then trying to win in some big flashy way with Resurgent Belief. I don't know, or maybe it's just some kind of mid-range snowbally value deck that you can Ivory Mask yourself. You can with Sterling Grove you can potentially play like a toolbox enchantment type deck. So yeah, if that was viable in modern, would that interest you?
Absolutely.
Yep.
I've been, while you've been reeling off all these card names, a whole bunch of them I don't really know. I've just been punching them into Scryfall and checking them out as well. Like, yes, I like the sounds of that. Ivory Mask, you can't be the target of spells or abilities. Enchantment, that's nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the sound of it. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how all you, how do you put it, elder statesmen of of Magic, and you're just reeling off these cards from 20 years ago or whatever it is. I'm just like,
what it is,
yeah, sure, that card.
is my hard drive has the same number of terabytes as yours does, right? Except mine, I have literal terabytes of Magic information, and that is at the expense of other useful things in life that may be actually something I can use to contribute to my family, my own well-being, or society. But instead, it's just full of Magic cards. So don't ask me to remember, my anniversary.
But don't ask me to remember that either. I don't remember anything.
You probably know lots about like Lego or something. I don't know, but it's my head's just full of this stuff, and I guess it just comes like Magic's been a passion for
for a very long time,
nearly 20 years now. Like it's like 18 years or something. Magic's been a real passion of mine. So yeah, there's a lot of knowledge comes with that.
I've sent us off on a tangent. Obviously.
It is. You have.
But I just felt like I needed to just make mention of it because I'm actually in awe of it, generally speaking.
Do you know what? This tangent has been a complete.
And I love it.
This tangent has been a complete upheaval of this episode, my friend. I tell you what. Yeah. Running the segues back. It's
tangents into segues. So in this list here. So these archetypes are something that Chewy's put together, and I'm just reading and looking and trying to learn as well. But he's got Upheaval here as a suggested card for a Wildfire archetype.
Yeah. So read out Upheaval, and
tell me about this.
I'll tell the team. Yep. I'll tell the crew what Wildfire does. But
all right. So Upheaval is 4 and blue. Sorcery. Return all permanents to their owner's hands. Tell us about it.
All permanents.
What are you,
not
all permanents.
Yeah, lands as well, right?
Everything.
Yeah.
Back.
So, Wildfire is red, and 2, and it deals 4 damage to each creature, and each player sacrifices 4 lands. And this is one of my and Shorty's favorite archetypes ever. Like Wildfire is amazing. It will always be a supported archetype in my cube, and when this was in standard, it was one of the best decks going. So it played a bunch of signets. So like it was blue-red, and it played like Boomerang because it bounced the land. So blue, return target permanent to its owner's hand. It played Stone Rains and that sort of effect, Avalanche Riders and Wildfires. And the idea was you'd have these symmetrical effects that blew up resources, but because of all of your artifact mana, you could recover better. So Wildfire is a way to sweep your opponent's board of threats and leave you with a bunch of mana rocks, so you could then start rebuilding. And that deck fell down when you didn't draw Wildfire, and it was one of those things where it's like, if I'd drawn a Wildfire, I would have won. And that was kind of the problem that the deck had, because if you're just like 1-for-1ing their lands, they're just playing 2-drops, 3-drops, attacking you, and eventually you die because you couldn't sweep them up. So Upheaval, if you've got a whole bunch of mana rocks and you've got 8-10 mana, you tap all of that, you cast Upheaval, and then you use that 4 mana to play all your signets again. So your opponent's board is literally empty, and you've got 3 or 4 mana sitting on your side of the board when you pass a turn. They've probably got a discard because they'll
have a handful of everything.
Yep. And so this, look, if I'm honest, like, I want this to be good. I know it's probably not, but I would love there to be a viable Wildfire deck in
Can we give it?
Can
we give it another name? If you're running like 4 Wildfire, because Wildfire is obviously modern legal, yeah.
Yes. Yep.
And you'd be running 4 of them and 4 of Upheaval. Like, is there some sort of 8-whack type name we can come up for it? Like, that'd be nice.
What a Wild Heavel.
Wild Heavel, something.
Just gonna no, maybe not. But no, I don't know. Maybe some more of the creative types.
We'll do some more research.
Yeah, let's do that. So that one, Total Hopeful. I wish it would be good. I know it's probably not going to be good, but yeah, it would be great. The next, there's a lot of cards that you don't know what they do, but I'm pretty sure you across what our next cards on the list do, though.
Yeah, so I saw this on the list and the one below it as well, and both of them, they get me pretty excited.
A bit more in your wheelhouse. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. It's an archetype or an area of Magic that for a long time I was like, nah, doesn't do anything for me. But the more I play, the more I just love what black does in all its forms. So our next sort of archetype here is to do something with mono black and the big mana that's now on offer with Cabal, Coffers, and Urborg.
Yeah, I don't know what the thing that is that we're doing, but
there's something there.
Yeah, that's such a powerful combination of Coffers and Urborg. It's got to do something, and we've got redundancy for Urborg in Dryad of the Elysian Grove.
Yeah, exactly.
So the tools exist for a broken mana engine, and broken mana engines usually lead to broken things, right? So I just don't know what that is just yet. I don't know. Like, get brewing, people. Like, this exists. It's gonna do something, and it's gonna do some really, really powerful things. It might get blown up by wildfire, but it's a kind of staple in Commander and such, and it's just some of the things it can do in that format are ridiculous. Whether or not that translates to Modern, I'm not sure, but it's just such a powerful mana engine. I'm sure somebody's already figured it out. I don't think it's quite as efficient as Tron that, can get you to 7 mana on turn 3.
Yeah.
But it can go bigger. So, that I don't know whether it's like Eldrazi Titans or Torment of Hailfire or some other crazy thing that you can do with all of that mana. I really don't know, but it's a thing that can break a format in half, this sort of synergy. So we'll see what it does. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
What else can black do?
It can reanimate.
It can. So we've seen in Modern, there's been the best reanimated deck in Modern historically has been casting Gifts Ungiven, only getting Unbearer Rights and Elesh Norn. So your opponent has no choice but to choose those to put into the graveyard, and then you play Elesh Norn. So you can do that, like if you have a Signet or some sort of other mana accelerator, turn 3, you're playing a Gifts Ungiven, turn 4, you've got an Elesh Norn in play. And that's pretty good. But there's some other things that this set has introduced.
So there's definitely some support here for more of reanimating things. They've given us a sorcery. Well, they're both sorceries. One being Unmarked Grave, which is 1 and a black. Search your library for a non-legendary card, put that card into your graveyard, and then shuffle. So you can...
Yeah, it's a really similar effect to Entomb, which is, 1 mana instant search your library for any card and put it in. That card's busted.
Yes.
Where this non-legendary, it's got some limits, but you spoke about Archon of Cruelty earlier.
Exactly.
I don't see legendary on there anywhere. No, it doesn't say legendary.
I don't either.
No. So pretty good reanimation target. So
we hit that.
Yeah.
And then we need to cast this next card, which is Persist, 1 and a black, once again, sorcery. Return target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a -1/-1 counter on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool.
So
when we inevitably draft this, because we will, and I'm sure we will multiple times, I'm going to force this archetype.
Well, that's it. It's going to be a really good, a really, really good draft archetype. I think it's going to be super fun. There's also another card literally just sprung to mind that could work here as well.
Yeah.
And I've just put it into the show notes. It's called Tidespout Tyrant. It was reprinted in Battle Bond. It was originally printed in like one of the Ravnica sets or something. Dissension, maybe? Yeah, yep, it does. Yep. Dissension, it's better art in Dissension, just quietly, than the Scryfall link that I've just put on. So it is a 8 mana, 5 and 3 blue for a 5/5 flying djinn. Whenever you cast a spell, return target permanent to its owner's hand. So the thing with persist is it only costs 2 mana, right? So you can persist, then play like, I don't know, what can black do? It can fatal push something and then bounce something, right? So you have a 5/5 flyer, you bounce their best creature, kill another creature, so you're super ahead on the board. Or you bounce a land, you might play like a ponder, right? And bounce a land and you're ahead on the control deck or something like that. So it's a thing that you can do. And in older formats where you had like Moxes and such, Tidespout Tyrant did a lot of work where you could just, play a Mox and then a Sapphire, whatever, Brainstorm, whatever, and you could bounce 2 or 3 permanents and you put yourself so ahead. I don't know if we can quite replicate that in mod, but yeah, it's there. So that in combination with the Archon, maybe there's a deck there. And there's like Drake Yusef, there's Sundering Titan and such. So there's other things that you can target with persist that gives you and unmarked. And there's also, sorry, I'm at that point where I'm rattling off a bunch of card names again, aren't I?
You are on.
I'm clearly excited. There's also a demonic tutor in this set that has the suspend ability.
There is, and I was looking at it just a moment ago.
I'm trying to find it.
And now it's gone.
Yeah.
But it's suspend 1 and a black. I remember that much.
Yeah, it's like suspend 2 or something. Profane tutor. So, yep.
That's the one.
Suspend 2, 1 and a black. Search your library for a card. Put that card in your hand. Shuffle it. So it's a demonic tutor. So you can go and find, your reanimation piece or your thought seize before you cast your reanimation piece to clear the way, or your grief. And you can go and protect your combo or find the piece that you need. There's also a Cabal Initiate, which is a common out of this set. It is 1 and a black for a 2/1 human warlock. That's discard a card. Cabal Initiate gains lifelink, and threshold, it gets +1/+2 as long as you've got a bunch of cards in your library. But it's a free discard outlet that has lifelink. So
yeah, that's awesome.
So it's a good way to block absorb some damage, gain some life, blocks a Goblin Guide, gains some life, puts your Archon or reanimation target of your choice in your hand. From your hand into your graveyard. Yep. And away you go. So, and then you've got the Entomb effect to go with that. So there's definitely a all of the supporting cast for the reanimator deck, and hopefully that's good. And again, this whole segment, I guess, is framed with, is this good enough to beat Death Shadow? Is this good enough to beat, the blue-red? Is it Blitz deck? Is it good enough to beat Tron? Is it good enough to beat Burn Through the Breach, Dredge, Heliod Company, all of that? I don't know, but...
but the other side of it is it good enough to put these decks together in your own play group and just play them,
Absolutely.
play modern in a different setting where you're not trying to win on turn 2 or turn 3?
Absolutely. Well, actually, that's a really, really good point. And where we've traditionally played our modern tournaments outside of like Grand Prix or PTQs is at our local. Like we'll go to our local games portal, and there might be 20, 25 players on whatever the night was, Thursday night, where they ran their modern events. And out of those 25 decks, there'd be like 22 unique archetypes or something like that, 20 or 21 unique archetypes. And you would get these cool things where people were doing what they wanted to do because it was just their casual local event. Not everybody's out to, win a Grand Prix or whatever. People want to do things that interest them and that are fun. And there's a lot of cards in this set that really facilitate that. And I love that. I think it's a really, really great way to, approach the modern format, because it can be really fun as long as you don't get super sweaty. And yeah, if you have a look at the modern metagame on like MTG Goldfish or a website like that, right? And I think they get their data from like Magic Online or some other tournaments and stuff. They pull their data in from a bunch of different places. The deck that is most represented, the most played deck in Modern, is the blue-red Prowess deck, the Monetary Swift Spear Lava Dart type deck. And it is 7.2% of the metagame, right? So
it's pretty good, right?
Yeah, so when you
think about it.
Yeah, we've had standard decks that are 60%, right? So if somebody's playing, the quote-unquote best deck or most played deck or whatever, chances are you're not even going to play them at all in your local tournament. So it's the good thing about Modern is its diversity, and this set seems to support that.
It plays into it really well.
Yeah, it expands it. It's great. So I love it. So yeah, that's probably enough of me waffling on and you trying to get a word in edgeways tonight. Is there any other cards in the set that you are excited by? Anything else that we missed?
Look, I'll be honest. There is so many, but I haven't done any research tonight ahead of time, and I think we've covered quite a few.
I just had a thought.
There's plenty more.
I just had a thought.
What do you got?
I don't know if you were on the cast when we were talking about the previews for the what was the Viking set? The set before Kaldheim. There's a card in that called, I think it's Bergie, who creates treasure tokens, and you can sacrifice treasure. There's so many things that create treasures. Like there's Ragavan and
there's Tireless Provisioner. I'm just looking at now.
Yeah.
He's got
two
and a green landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, create a food token or a treasure token. So you can actually do one or the other.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
So maybe there's like a turn 3 or turn 4 instant speed Darksteel Colossus deck just waiting in the wings to be brewed up out of here, just because all of these things that create treasure tokens, and then Bergie with the ability to search for an artifact or a dragon and put into play. Maybe there's so much combo potential here, and the creative juices are flowing. I'm going to go away and do some brewing, but before we do that, let's talk about our leagues as we finish up. You did some coverage with Shorty this week?
I did. We started our Strixhaven League finals, or top 16, this week. And we got a few games done. We've already got a couple. I'm just looking at the what do they call it? The bracket now. We actually already have 3 players knocked out.
Ooh, commiserations. Congrats on making the finals. But
congrats to all. We have 2 players already locked in for the top 8 in Autocyclist and Thor's Chris Hemsworth.
Well done.
So our current losers, Yan Ray.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he went down 2-0 to Skips, Arcturus and Pejor. Pejor is out.
Pejor is out, our reigning league champ. Yeah, okay. Just already content with his finals invitation. So, with the invitational invitation. So the top 8 is very close to being determined, and we'll be streaming the finals on Saturday, the 19th of June. Hopefully all together in the same place. We'll
hopefully all together on my youngest daughter's birthday.
Excellent. Only a couple of days after mine. So it's for a birthday, bring her on, and T can do some coverage for us. It'd be great.
I'm sure she'd love it.
Yeah, she actually would. So keep an eye out for that. So there's like $500 worth of cash and prizes on offer for that. So that is going to be a massive event, like it always is. One of my jobs for our final stream is the background, and I've got an upgrade. I've got a nice big banner, so looking forward to debuting that. And
it's going to be great.
Yeah, so and that's always great, and always brought to us by Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar. So they put up the lion's share of that $500 in cash and prizes. So massive shout out to Josh and Pat's. And if you want to get in on our league Our next league will have one coinciding with the release of the next set. You can jump into our Discord. The link will be in the show notes, and they're all run through that. So make sure you sign up. They are free to enter with legit prizes, and they all lead into the Magic Beans tournament series, which culminates in our invitational at the end of the year. If you want to support us directly, you can go to our merch store. Again, link in the description, and you can buy mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, mouse pads, etc. Don't forget to search up Josh and Pat's, and when you do win an auction on their Facebook auction page, tell them that the Beans sent you. You can find us in our normal location, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter, at Magic Beans Cast, if you just search up those on all of those places. If you want to find me directly, for the one tweet a fortnight that I make, I am at Chewy MTG, and you are
at Stewy.
Thanks for hanging out and listening to Chewy brainstorm modern deck ideas. We'll see you next time on the Magic Beans podcast.